The only way to get a 2022 Toyota Tundra is to lease it. Here's the good and the bad, and why this is the only way you should get a 2022 Toyota Tundra. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button and click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Automotive FST. And that's right, the only way you should get a Toyota Tundra, a 2022 Toyota Tundra, is to lease it. Why? Well, because it's kind of unsure right now. You know, there's been some problems, some issues, the wastegate problem, some radio problems. Who knows what else is out there and what's going to come up. So leasing it is the way to go because it's kind of a way to have one, but not fully commit. But what are the good and the bads, the positives and the negatives of leasing a 2022 Toyota Tundra? First of all, let's start with the bads. Number one, the down payment. You're going to have to pony up some cash to do this. You're not going to just walk in and lease it. Now, you can finance in, if you will, make the down payment part of the lease, but that just means your lease payment's going to go even higher. Lately, I've heard it's around $4,000 down to lease the Toyota Tundra. Now, it depends, of course, on the dealer and the deals that Toyota is running and the length of the term and all that stuff, but let's go with $4,000 down, 3 years. That means your payment is probably going to be somewhere in the $500 to $600 to maybe even $700 a month for the term. And keep in mind, you don't own it, you're leasing it. So, down payment, number one. Number two, no mods. You don't own it. You can't mod it. Well, technically. You can do things to it as long as they're either very, very small or you can reverse them before you turn that vehicle back in. Because of course, the dealer and Toyota is not going to want a modded truck. They want a plain vanilla truck, the same truck as what you leased. It's kind of like renting an apartment. You know, if you rent an apartment, you can't go in and start tearing down walls and replacing cabinets and counters and all that kind of stuff. That's not allowed because you don't own it. Number three, you're stuck for the term of the lease. You owe that money. When you sign that paper, you're committing to the value of whatever those lease payments are over the term of the lease. You can't just run away or hand it back in and expect to pay nothing. Now, you can trade in a lease, but you're still going to owe that money. And a lot of dealerships will roll it into the next vehicle, whether you buy or lease that vehicle. And some of them, depending on whether or not it's that dealership or who you're leasing it through, will forgive maybe one payment. But that's it. You owe that money no matter what. And if you try to turn it in early because let's just say you don't like it, that money that you owe is still due. It's either going to be rolled into the next vehicle or you're going to have to pay it outright. So what are the goods, the positives? Number one, it costs you less than buying. You're not paying for the whole value of that truck. You're only paying for the part of it that is during that term of the lease. So it's like paying for part of the truck that you don't own in the end. Number two, warranty. Now, this kind of goes both ways because, of course, you're going to have warranty over at least the first 3 years or 36,000 miles, either way that you go. So it gives you kind of a chance to lease it for at least 3 years, maybe less, and have everything covered just like buying under warranty. So you're not going to have to pay any more if you do have problems with this brand new truck during the lease term, assuming that you're leasing it for 3 years or less. Number three, you've got time to decide if you like it. It's kind of like a test run. It's almost like renting the vehicle, except with renting, you can just turn it in and walk away. You don't owe anything else unless, of course, you've caused damage. So it gives you a little bit of time. It's kind of like a dry run. If you don't like it, at the end of the lease, you just turn it in and walk away. Again, assuming that you haven't damaged the truck in any way and are going to be liable for things that you may have done. Number 4, you can turn it in or you can buy it or you can release it even at the end of the lease. So if you get it and you like it and you decide you want to keep it, you don't have to turn it in. There's always a buyout. And by the way, that buyout figure should be stated in your lease documents. You should know what it's going to cost you to buy that truck out when you're done. There shouldn't be any surprises. And if it's not stated when you're signing up, make sure that you ask, where in this paperwork does it say how much it's going to cost me to buy this thing out when I'm done? While I'm thinking of that, the paperwork that is, there is one other fee that a lot of times it's just kind of skimmed over, and that's the disposition fee. That's the fee that you have to pay once the lease is over, or if you trade it off before the lease is over. It's a little fee. It's usually somewhere between $150 and $400. So that's more money that you get to tack into, in essence, the down payment. You're going to owe it at some point. It's just not up front. Number 5, if there are problems with the truck, it's Toyota's problem. In other words, let's say again, you've leased it for 3 years. During that 3-year period, you've got warranty. Anything that goes wrong should be covered. It's not your problem, except for the time that you may be without the vehicle. You know, like this wastegate problem. If they have to go in, pull the cab off, replace the turbos, whatever they're going to do, there's going to be a period of time where that truck is sitting in the shop and you're not going to have access to it. And speaking of that, while that is going on, you're still liable for the payments. It's not like they're going to credit you back something for the time that the truck is in the shop, or the payments are going to stop until you get it back. You're still paying for that truck while it's sitting in the shop being repaired. Now, at the end of the lease, as I mentioned, you can just turn it in. So if you go out and you get this brand new 2022 Toyota Tundra and there are ongoing problems with it, you can just turn it in at the end of the lease. You don't have to mess with it anymore or spend any money beyond the lease that you're currently liable for. So I think with the 2022 Tundra, the only way you should get it is to lease it. And that's because it is brand new and we really don't know how reliable or how trouble-free it's going to be. So at least kind of gives you a way to have one, kind of test drive it for a long period of time, of course, and decide whether or not you want to buy it out, release it, or maybe even go with something else altogether. Anyway, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you've gotten a new Tundra, did you lease it or did you go ahead and dive all the way in and buy it? I'd be curious to know. Real quick, don't forget, click that subscribe button and smash that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. I also have 2 additional channels. Rob Motive, all about my 2021 Toyota Tacoma, and Rob Motive JT, all about the Jeep Gladiator. Check them out, and if you're interested, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.